Over to you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Maharaj, your volume is very low. We are not able to hear it. Maybe.
Om Namo
Let me
Bhagavate
check.
Vasudevaya.
Yeah, it's fine. Sorry. Yeah.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Esadata Sarayasya Yatayasya Sinaram Sivihi Yaso Viparita Swaram Down Swantir Eva Yad Vanam. So what we're hearing about is the glories of Maharaj Pariksit, who was just born. The Brahmins were giving the birth predictions and the astrological calculations of how great this personality will be. This is being done right after he's born. They're speaking to King Yudhishthira. Translation: this child will be a munificent donor of charity and protector of the surrender. Like the famous King Sigi of the Usanara country. And he will expand the name and fame of his family like Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta. Purport. Can everyone hear me?
Your voice is breaking, Maharaj. For some reason, there is some disturbances in the voice.
It might be my internet. We have a internet overload here where I am.
Devotees, are you able? Sound is good here. Okay. Silpesh Prabhu, I think you also mentioned that sound is poor from your side as well.
Yeah, it's sorting a little bit,
Yeah.
but it is audible. It's just a bit hard to follow.
Okay, we'll give it here we go. A king becomes famous by his acts of charity, performance of yajnas, protector of the surrendered, etc. A Kshatriya king is proud to give protection to the surrendered souls. This attitude of a king is called Ishvara Bhava, or factual power to give protection in a righteous cause. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord instructs living beings to surrender unto him, and he promises all protection. The Lord is all powerful and true to his word, and therefore he never fails to give protection to his different devotees. The king, being the representative of the Lord, must possess this attitude of giving protection to the surrendered souls at all risk. Maharaj Sibi, the king of Usanara, was an intimate friend of Maharaj Yayati, who was able to reach the heavenly planets along with Maharaj Sibi. Maharaj Sibi was aware of heavenly planet where he was to be transferred after death. And the description of his heavenly planet was given in the Mahabharata Adi Parva. Maharaj Sibi was so charitably disposed that he wanted to give over his acquired position in the heavenly kingdom to Yayati, but he did not accept it. Yayati went to the heavenly planet along with the great rishis like Astaka and others. On inquiry from the rishis, Yayati gave an account of Sibi's pious acts when all of them were on the path to heaven. He has become a member of the assembly of Yamaraj, who has become his worshipful deity. As confirmed in the Gita, the worship of the demigods goes to the planet of the demigods, Yanti Deva Vatana Devam. So Maharaj Sibi has become an associate of the great Vaishnava authority Yamaraj on that particular planet. While he was on the earth, he became very famous as a protector of surrendered souls and a donor of charities. The king of heaven once took the shape of a pigeon hunter bird, eagle, and Agni, the fire god, took the shape of a pigeon. The pigeon, while being chased by the eagle, took shelter on the lap of Maharaj Sibi. And the hunter eagle wanted the pigeon back from the king. The king wanted to give it some other meat to eat and requested the bird not to kill the pigeon. The hunted bird refused to accept the king's offer. But it was settled later that the eagle would accept flesh from the body of the king of the pigeon's equivalent weight. The king began to cut flesh from his body to weigh in the balance equivalent to the weight of the pigeon. But the mystic pigeon always remained heavier. The king then put himself on the balance to equate with the pigeon, and the demigods were pleased with this. King of heaven and the fire god disclosed their identity, and the king was blessed by them. Devarshi Narada also glorified Maharaj Sivi for his great achievements, specifically in charity and protection. Maharaj Sivi sacrificed his own son for the satisfaction of human beings in his kingdom. And thus child Parikshit was to become a second Sivi in charity and protection. Now we go on to Dushyanta Bharat. There are many Bharats in history, of which Bharat, the brother of Lord Ram, Bharat, the son of King Rishabh, and Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta, are very famous. All of these Bharats are historically known to the universe. This planet is also known as Bharatvarsha or Bharatvarsha, due to King Bharat, the son of Rishabh. But according to some, this land is known as Bharat due to the reign of the son of Dushyanta. So as far as we are convinced, this land named Bharatvarsha was established by the reign of Bharat, the son of King Rishabh. Before him, the land was known as Ilavrita Varsha. But just after the coronation of Bharat, the son of Rishabh, this land became famous as Bharatavarsha. But despite all this, Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta, was not less important. He is the son of the famous beauty Sukuntala. Maharaj Dushyanta fell in love with Sukuntala in the forest, and Bharat was conceived. After that, Maharaj forgot his wife Sukuntala by the curse of Kanvanmudi, and the child Bharat was brought up in the forest by his mother. In his childhood was so powerful that he challenged the lions and elephants in the forest and would fight with them, as little children play with cats and dogs.
Shubhanga Mataji, if you can please go on mute. Thank you. Sorry, ma'am.
Because of the boys becoming so strong, more than the so-called modern Tarzan, the rishis in the forest called him Sarvadamana, or one who was able to control everyone. A full description of Maharaj Bharat is given in the Mahabharata Adipar. The Pandavas, or the Kurus, are sometimes addressed as Bharat, due to being born in the dynasty of the famous Maharaj Bharat, the son of King Dushyanta. Gyan Tamavanda Syagana Jana Salakai Chaksun Militamyena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya Sakarine Panchakalpatarupischa kripa sindhuve pachapatitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namaha namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the king is known as the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The head of state, the president, the monarch. They're given that position, but according to Manu Samhita, They represent the Lord. And here it's mentioned that the Lord, one of the Lord's features towards the living entity, he gives protection. He protects in different ways, but he gives protection as a general principle. What is that protection? Once we engage in devotional service, he protects us from losing that facility of devotional service. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, verse number 20, I believe it is, that I carry what you lack and I preserve what you have. So as long as you stay in devotional service, Krishna will always protect you from falling down. And if you happen to fall down, he will arrange for you to get back up. He protects also by giving protection to the body in many cases. But sometimes it appears that he fails in that department, but it's not really understood correctly. Sometimes he wants the person to leave the body and come back to him or take another body at a better situation. So he gives protection ultimately to our spiritual journey. And he also gives protection to the body in many cases. And that is Krishna. So the king, the monarch, even anyone who's in a position of leadership must give protection to those that they lead. And the Srimad Bhagavatam, it explains that in one particular verse, 5 types of people require protection just because of the categories they are in. What are they? Women, children, old people, Brahmins, and cows. It says that the society fails to give protection to these people in any way, that society is victimized and will have to get a reaction for failing to give protection to these 5 types of people. And especially protection of the cows and the Brahmins are given even more emphasis. But here we see the citizens of the state require protection from dacoits. It's like we see that people cannot, in many of the so-called civilized countries of the world, people cannot walk after dark on the streets, especially women. There's always dangers of being robbed, attacked, raped. And so, because the government is a bunch of rogues and thieves themselves, and so they can't protect against people of the same nature. Or if they fail to give protection, because they say, well, we try, but we're not perfect. No, it's very easy to do if you organize it properly, but they fail to do it. And therefore, people are victimized and people are afraid to go out. People are, you have one of the biggest franchises, businesses in Western civilizations is security alarm systems. Everybody's house has a big security alarm. And practically you probably know, or even have personal experience that your house or somebody's house you know has been broken into. Happens all the time. And I would specifically mention the UK. The UK is burglaries are very high there, and people are always being robbed. The houses are there. Now they've got sophisticated alarm systems, which somehow give some warning when something is going to happen. But even those don't give protection. The protection can only come from those who are qualified to give protection. And therefore, ultimately, the ultimate protection is to take shelter of Krishna and chant his holy name. Because through the chanting of the holy name, one gets protection because Krishna's name is Krishna. And Krishna gives protection to his devotee. through the holy name also. Here we see how the story of King Sibi is amazing. A pigeon took shelter of him to be protected from an eagle. But that was a test that was done by the demigod just to show the glory of Maharaj Sibi. But he was willing to sacrifice his life because it says that anyone who takes shelter of someone, it is the duty of that person to give protection of that to them. And therefore, one has to be qualified to give protection. Therefore, one should not take the position of authority unless they can give protection to those that they control or those that they direct. But here we see the business of the king. Nowadays, when there is a war started, the soldiers, they go into the battlefield, and the generals and even the heads of state, they sit on the monitor watching the war on a screen. They never go out to the battlefield. When there is actually, according to Kshatriya culture or human Kshatriya culture, that the king is supposed to lead the troops in the battle. And if the king is killed, then that side loses the war automatically. And so, but we don't have that today. Nowadays, people are Sudras and less, and so nobody wants to follow any rules and regulations. Everyone is just doing whatever they can to preserve their own situation. And the leaders nowadays, not only do they don't give protection to the people, they actually exploit the people, and they are the people that we need protection from. That's mentioned in the Mahabharata, where it says that in this age of Kali, people will elect the government officials, but the government officials will destroy the people. So it's not only they don't give protection, but they are the destructive force for people in general. And there are so many examples of that. We won't go into the examples. We just came out of a situation where that was very prominent. People in power were killing people in the name of for giving protection. So this is Kali Yuga. And therefore, nobody trusts the leaders, and the leaders are not trustworthy anyway. So therefore, one has to establish real saintly rule. Kings like Maharaj Sibi, Maharaj Parikshit, Maharaj Yudhisthira. We're hearing about Dushyanta Maharaj, also a great king. These are all, and they are very powerful. And they understand their business is to give protection to others. It's like nowadays, we don't have any hope for any protections. All we do is get locks, we get guns, just like America. America is one of the highly armed countries in the world. Everybody has guns here. Practically everybody has a gun. Because everybody wants to protect themselves in different ways. And sometimes they use a gun in an aggressive way. So yeah, so it's like a war zone where everyone has guns and everybody is fearful of others. And just like, they have this theory that, well, every country should have the nuclear weapon. That way, if everyone has the nuclear weapon, then nobody will attack another person because then they will be destroyed. They call it a balance of terror. You're very powerful, so I won't attack you, because if I do, I'll get smashed by you. But that doesn't work. Srila Prabhupada also commented on that when he was discussing this point, when they were using that as an example. Prabhupada said, no, if they create the weapons, they will use the weapons. That is the law of nature. They will use them. It doesn't matter, nobody, because as long as they have the weapons, they're meant to be used. And so this is a very precarious way to live. It's not a way to live at all, in fact, and therefore, nobody trusts anybody. Everyone is fearful. Fear is very strong nowadays. Even if you say something to someone, they get very fearful if they don't like what you hear. They hear. So that is the feature of this age of Kali. So the only solution is Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada wanted to establish the Varnas. His business was to set up Varnashram College to teach how to become a Brahmin, how to become a Kshatriya, how to become a Vaishya, and engage the Sudras in serving the other three classes. And then ultimately in devotional service to the Lord. So in our society, we also need what is called Kshatriya culture, where there are men who are trained to fight. Prabhupada said, at any time when there is necessary, they will come out and protect. They are trained. And this is part of the Vedic culture, and it's also part of the Vaishnava culture. Have that in the mood of protection, not in the mood of aggression. Aggression is for the demons, protection is for the saintly. They give protection, and there must be a class of persons who are trained in order to do that. And therefore, this still has to be established within the ISKCON society, a class of Kshatriyas. Of course, it's very difficult to do that because we have to abide by the laws of the state also. And therefore, but it must be done in some way or other to give protection to our devotees. Just like, I think it was about a year ago, three of our temples were attacked in the same week. The Baltimore temple, the Washington, D.C. temple, and one other temple, all in that same area. And obviously, it was by the same group. Fortunately, the devotees were ready, and nothing happened. The deities were saved. But there has been incidents where our temples have been attacked. Deities have been smashed. I was personally involved in an attack in Vrindavan in 1973, on June 5th, 1973, when a motorcycle gang came to attack our temple. And they caused havoc. They shot four devotees were shot. One died later. The other three were okay afterwards. But when Prabhupada became aware of what happened, he sent one devotee who was a Green Beret Marine. They sent him to train our devotees on how to fight. His name was Uddareta. He came and he was trained. He was teaching the devotees how to use weapons, how to work out, become physically fit in order to fight like that. So Prabhupada, as soon as he heard about that happening, and then he's talked about that a lot. He said, we need to have Kshatriya Dharma in our society in order to protect the Brahmins, to protect the devotees, to protect the women, protect the children, like that. It's like nowadays, when you're in America, they have this thing now. It's called, it connects to all of your phones. And there is this thing that goes on that people drive by in cars looking for children on the streets who are unprotected. And then when they see a kid, they drive up and somebody runs out, grabs the kid, throws him in the car, and they drive off. And it's a common thing. When I first came to America about 2 months ago, I was getting these alert systems all the time, and you see them on the signs. Kids are automatically picked up, and then that's it. Nobody sees them ever again. They're sent to some Arabian country to become a concubine for some big Arab leader there or somebody. So, yeah. So it's a slave trade. It's a big business in the world today. So never allow your kids to be unprotected on the streets. They should always make sure that there are people around to protect, because this is a big thing. It's especially in America, it goes on in other countries also. And then they take these children and they sell them off. They get big money. So it's a big racket. And so all they can do is try to warn parents not to allow their children to be unprotected. But that's not always perfect. It's just the kids sometimes wander away and then they find themselves lost like that. So yeah, so we need a society by which the devotees are also taken care of, and there is a system of protection if it's required from outside influences. That's also has to be there. And so, but it's also because the heads of state in any of the countries around the world, they're not giving protection to their citizens. They set up a police force. They also have a military force, but they don't do the job. They don't do the job. And for whatever reason, they don't do the job. They just don't do the job. Or they're not trained properly, or they're not qualified to take the position for whatever reason. And so people are, and that's why people are trying to protect themselves by getting guns and somehow or other defending themselves in that way. And it becomes like an armed camp. So of course in Europe, guns are illegal for the common people. The police and the military are the only ones allowed to have guns. And in most European countries are like that, but in America, it's completely different. Everybody has a gun. Even down to your friend in school, he carries, even the kids carry guns in schools nowadays. So it's just, so everyone either wants protection or sometimes they become aggressive also. This is Kali Yuga because there's no leadership. The countries are headless. There's no Brahmins to give advice to the Kshatriyas. There's no Kshatriyas to rule. Prabhupada said third and fourth class persons take the position of leadership, and all they care about is economic growth and catering to a few vested interests that come from corporate support. Now, this is basically the society we live in. Like that is pretty much worldwide like that. They're also trying to do that to India. Fortunately, India is still strong, and it has some good, it still has its culture intact in many places, especially in certain areas of ruling. But the rest of the world, pretty much governed by dacoits, people who are simply squeezing the people rather than protecting the people. Okay, I won't go into it too much because it is a topic that is very, very extensive. So what we hear here from this particular, that this is the main service of the ruling head of state, must give protection to the citizens. He must protect them by giving them a chance to worship according to their own choice. And he must also give protection from dacoits, robbers, thieves, and other unscrupulous persons who like to victimize others. Okay, so Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you. And devotees, if you have any questions, comments, realizations, please unmute yourself and ask. Or you can type it in the chat box and I can read it for you. Thank you. So Maharaj, while you're waiting for the questions to come, I have a question. You mentioned about Bhagavad Gita when Krishna says that I give what devotees lack, basically, and I protect what they have. So in that, previous to that verse, Krishna says that, Namedeshyasti na priya. I'm not partial to anyone, but I'm specifically, soft towards my devotees. So receive that type of mercy, Maharaj. How the devotee, like Krishna says, my devotee. So what does it mean?
What does what mean?
So it's like you said that Krishna provides the protection to his devotees, and Krishna is saying that he gives a, my devotees never perishes in Bhagavad Gita.
I explained that in the class. He protects you. He protects your spiritual practice. And in most cases, not every case, he also gives protection to the body. But he's always given protection to the body, but sometimes he uses the material energy to take a devotee back to Godhead. Or he allows some devotee to undergo some suffering in order for them to wake up to the fact that they are, acting wrongly. Krishna is a perfect teacher and protector at the same time. He's always elevating his devotee in one way or the other, as long as the devotee stays engaged in devotional service.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. Devotees, any other questions?
Not a popular topic.
Yes, Namrata. Go ahead.
Hi, Krishna Gurudev. Thank you very much for this wonderful lecture. And it's very nice to know that you're always there, and you sometimes when we think it's not protected, it's because you have another plan. And it's not because we have forgotten, it's another plan. And maybe we are not sure to see the good plan, and it's always the better plan which is coming through. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Correct. Thank you for illustrating that.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Guru Maharaj, before a day or two, I just read a quote from Srila Prabhupada which says, "One who is mischievous, he is culprit, but one who tolerates mischievous activity, he is also culprit. If you are mischievous, you are criminal. But if you tolerate mischievous activity, that is also criminal. Challenge these rascals. Stop their rascal theories." So I was just wondering out of this statement that since Kali Yuga is almost devoid of Kshatriyas, so does this apply to the other other class of people? They should also, because of their nature, they are not able to do this, because of which there is an imbalance. But still, should they make an effort?
To stop the mischief monger?
Yes.
Yeah. If someone wants to do harm to you and you allow it, you're also becoming victimized by wrong activity. You should not allow people to exploit you. You have to stop it in some way or another. Prabhupada talks about, there's a verse also that he quotes based on this too. I have it written down somewhere. Someone comes and wants to kill you, you say, "Oh, well, I just have to tolerate it, that's all." No, stop it. Just like there was an example where one person, he claimed to be nonviolent. He was a proponent of nonviolence. He became someone known for that. So one reporter said to him, "My dear sir, if someone comes and tries to attack your daughter," he had two daughters, I think, "would you do anything to stop them?" And he said, and he gave a roundabout answer. The person, he said, "In no situations will I become violent." And then the reporter pressed it a little farther. "You mean to say that if your daughter is being attacked by someone, you won't do anything?" And he just repeated the same thing. And the reporter came out and said, "My dear sir, you are violent. By allowing violence to happen to innocent people, you are also violent." So yeah, Prabhupada used to see that, people would be walking down the street and somebody would be attacking them in broad daylight and nobody would do anything. So yeah, you can't you can't allow people to exploit you and by committing harm to you. Now this principle applies in different ways in different situations with different types of people. But that's the general principle that Prabhupada is emphasizing in this particular case. So if you understand it from that perspective, then it's easy.
So I was just trying to understand it in a way that in this particular time, where large mass of people, they are not straight away, they are victimized. They are like, there's a slow poisoning going on, in which they are not even realizing they are being attacked.
Well, that's because they are, they're so used to being exploited that they can't see the difference between exploitation and non-exploitation. We're being exploited all the time. And just like advertising is a form of exploitation. Convince you to buy something you don't want or don't need. It's called advertising. That's a form of exploitation. So that's a subtle form, but it's not so subtle. It's actually direct, it's gross. But people just take it as normal. So when something else happens, they're just used to being exploited. Sometimes they can't see the difference of being exploited and not being exploited.
So Guru Maharaj, the solution is the Guru Sadhu Shastra. Is that the solution, or anything else can be done?
Guru Sadhu Shastra is the reference by which you gain knowledge to apply in every situation. But in certain cases, Shastra may not endorse the right thing according to what the situation is, but Guru will. Shastra is sometimes general. Guru will be more specific.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. That quite answered.
It's there's many variables that come up. Just like when King Pariksha was touring the kingdom, he saw a low-class man beating a cow, beating a bull. The bull was standing on one leg and shaking. The cow was also suffering. And after arresting the low-class man, King Pariksha turned to the bull and said, "Well, my dear bull, what is the cause of your suffering?" And the bull didn't answer directly. And he gave so many other, he said that people say suffering is caused by providence, by one's own karma, by nature, so many things. He didn't give a direct answer. And then the last thing he said, that one who identifies the perpetrator of the crime also becomes victimized by that same crime. So that's another angle, whereas if you blame the source of the misery that's coming upon you as being the cause, then you're not seeing things correctly. The cause might be your karma, the cause might be providence, the cause might be the material energy. So so to blame the perpetrator is also not seeing the whole picture. The perpetrator will get punished for his perpetration, but he's placed in there to do that kind of harm to you based on his karma.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very
But
much.
yeah, so therefore one has to understand that ultimately everything happens by the arrangement of the Lord through the material energy. And to accept the material energy means to accept suffering.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Everyone, that cover you designed for my book on Krishna's Way, everybody's raving about how nice the cover is. And they is on the back. Namrat, she drew this amazing, really beautiful picture of Krishna and Balaram and cows and Srila Prabhupada on the back. We use it as a cover for my latest book. And the book sells just because of the cover. I think they put it on their altar or something. Really
Thank
good.
you, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah.
I'm glad you gave me this opportunity, Guru Maharaj. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to serve you more.
That was that was done so beautifully. That's why I bother you when I want such things, because I know you can do it.
Always in your service, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you. I know you're busy, so I won't say any more right now.
No, Guru Maharaj. You can save anytime.
No, you're
I
busy.
will take-
You're doing 2 more projects right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so 2, that's enough for now.
Okay. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
She's an amazing artist. Amazing.
And
Yes,
I will
Mr.
try, Guru Maharaj. I mean, whenever I'm really dumbfounded when somebody is praising. So please, I kindly, in a straightforward words, I can say, I'm just doing my duty. That's it. I just feel that.
Okay, continue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Raj.
Alright. On this topic of allowing others to commit harm to us, to exploit us, the greatest exploiters that there are, the government are exceptionally expert in exploiting people, and they can dress it up in so much fancy ways and disguise it so much that 99% of the time we're not even aware of how much we're being exploited. It's only when you look at the finer detail of something specific and you can see how much it's like hidden and very cleverly disguised. but it still feels like there is nothing really that we can do about that. It's almost like we have to submit to it.
No, read my book, Krishna's Way, Natural Living. We don't have to stay within the system. Prabhupada gave us the vision that farm community, self-sufficient, agriculture, cow protection, varnashram. He said, you know, we cannot be dependent on this society. To some degree, we can't completely eliminate our connection with the social, political, and economic climate, but we can back off a lot where we don't have to be victimized in every aspect of our life. And that's in my book, and that's also in Prabhupada's instructions. He gave it. He said, grow your own food, make your own cloth. He said, he also said, learn herbs and make your own medicines. The third leading cause of death in the United States, third leading cause of death in the United States, this is given by doctors, is the cure that is applied when people go for medical treatment. Thousands of people die simply by going to hospitals and doctors to get cured from their disease. The third leading cause, and I have a video by doctors who have done this research, and the doctor who was explaining it, he is really, really upset. He said that, you know, we, 5,000 people die because the Twin Towers got blown up, and we go to war. But people he's saying more people are dying per month, and we don't even do anything because of our medical system is so deficient. Yeah. So yeah, that's just one example of how people are being exploited by this the medical system. It's so bad. Prabhupada said, you know, learn herbs, make medicines, and also apply preventive type of medicines. Stay healthy. And if you get sick, there's always cures. Every cure of every disease is in nature. God has provided for it. Even of diseases that you don't have yet, there's cures in nature, and everything is there. So Prabhupada gave us this formula for self-sufficiency. We're not dependent on it. If you want to heat your home, you can do it with methane gas. You can make methane gas from cow dung. All you do need is a little machine to transform the cow dung and process it, and it creates methane gas. You can use it for heating. You can use it for cooking also. You can use, yeah. So, but we're so plugged into this Western society that at any time, if things go wrong, you know, we're victimized. We have to pay high heating bills, inflation because of food. Food is full of pesticides, herbicides, and various contaminants. Everybody knows it, but still. There's a wave now coming in the United States of people starting their own gardens and growing in their own backyards now. We want to do that with the temples too. The temples should become self-sufficient and take care of all of the needs for the deities through our own farms like that. That was also Prabhupada's instructions. It wasn't just an idea. He said, do it. He said, you know, have cows, get milk, and provide everything for the deities. Vegetables, fruits, everything like that. But it's a transition program, and it has to be done in an organized way. But it is actually something that is becoming more and more a necessity of life now. as the quality of life continues to deteriorate in a general sense. Those of you who are in the UK, you know, the UK is really victimized. And like the price of automobile fuel. I was in the UK last year, and there was 100 cars were lining up on one gas station, all the way out in the road, down the block, because this one gas station was a few pice cheaper than most gas stations. People were waiting in line for like hours just to get gas. It's a pretty dysfunctional civilization, and it's becoming more dysfunctional because it's run by demons. That's all it is. As Raj was saying, the government is the greatest thieves. Yeah, they are. In fact, the more you investigate, the more you look for it, the more you will see how people are being squeezed and exploited. As Prabhupada's vision was to, not only for our society, but for the world. Simple living. And if you want to find out more, just read Srimad Bhagavatam. First canto, 8th chapter, verse number 40. First canto, 10th chapter, verse number 4 and 5. First canto, 11th chapter, verse number 12. So many verses. Prabhupada is explaining, you know, the deficiency of modern technological society, how it's destroying all the good qualities of the human being, simply for economic development. For a few people, not for the whole society. So yeah, and then Prabhupada said, the last thing he said, make your own houses. Build your own homes. When he came to New Vrindavan, he drew on paper a house that devotees, he wanted devotees to live like that. And he drew it with a pencil and showed it. It's enough for 4 people to live in a house like that. Simple. You can build it just like the Amish. The Amish, they can build a house in 2 or 3 days. As a community, they all get together and build a house. They can build a barn in 3 days. We have so much talent, but all the talent is being used to go to work for somebody so we can get some money in order to buy something that we can make ourselves. And half the stuff on the market you don't even need. That's a statistic that more than 90% of the stuff on the market is considered to be luxuries, and only 5% is considered to be necessity. 25 types of tile glue, 50 types of tools of different kinds. The society is always thinking how to create something else that people can buy and that can make more money in it. There's a thing in the United States called the patent office. People invent new items, goes to this office for approval, and if the office approves it, it goes on the market. And they're always coming up for new things. How to keep your pizza warm, One guy became a millionaire because he created a little wrapping that when you buy a pizza from the pizza shop, it keeps warm till you get to the house. He became a millionaire. So if you buy it from the pizza shop and you bring it home, just reheat it. Why you have to pay for this extra thing. People don't have any common sense, you know. They want everything easy and fast. That's the problem. Therefore, there's no quality. Yeah, so you're right. Yeah. The answer is in Prabhupada's direction for not only for the society, but for the world. Live simply. You can still live nicely. It doesn't mean you have to live in an impoverished situation. You can still live nicely, but become more self-sufficient, depend on nature, not so much on, you know, Con Edison or all of these electrical companies and so many things.
Thank you, Maharaj. Raj Prabhu, I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Baba has a question, I think.
Sukava?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. Glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to all the assembled devotees. I think, Guru Maharaj, my question, you answered it already in the Raj Prabhu's answer. So thank you so much.
Okay. Did God come to your house yet?
No, they're coming on 8th of July, Guru Maharaj. I was just thinking about you. It would have been so nice if you were here.
If you have God there, you have everything, don't worry.
Yeah, but my connection to God is you, Guru Maharaj. If you are not there, then something is missing, isn't it?
Yeah, there's one less person to feed, that's all.
You're not giving me any chance to serve you, Guru Maharaj.
I'm coming to the UK soon.
Okay.
Give me a chance to serve you.
Oh no. You have to give me a date when you're coming.
You know, when I come, I always get Sukava has messages. I get them all the time. When are you coming to my house? The thing is, I like coming to your house because you always have a nice kirtan program. So that's one of the
Yeah, on 8th it'll be all the time kirtan only for Radha Gokulananda. It'll be so nice.
Those of you who live in the UK, just come over to Sukava house on the 8th.
Yeah, please come.
You see Radha Gokulananda is coming to your home, right?
Yeah, they are.
Filter.
Can't wait for them now.
Yeah, and you'll have an opportunity to get all kinds of mercy and blessing.
Yeah. The best blessing is they are coming over here, isn't it? And everybody can have a darshan. So
Yeah.
nice.
Invite the whole city of London.
Yeah.
Okay.
Satyabhama is not coming. Guru Maharaj tells Satyabhama, she is not coming to my house. I'm so unhappy with her.
Satyabhama will give her reasons why she can't come.
Maharaj, there is one question. Sorry, Sukava. I have a reason. Maharaj, there is one question from Boni Mataji, Boni Prabhu, or from sometime. Is it okay to have that question, Maharaj? We have
Her name is Bani.
Bani. Sorry,
Not
pronounce
Boni. Bani.
Bani.
The name is Bonita.
Bonita.
Make it short, Bani. Bonita.
Thank you. Sorry, Mataji, for wrong pronouncing your name. And the question is, Dear Maharaj, in my personal life, I have defended myself and others. I endeavor in this incidents to use the least amount of strength and damage necessary to end the fight and threat. I strongly believe that one must not injure someone any more than necessary, and one may not injure someone or kill someone who is already on the ground or captured. Do you feel that is the correct position?
Yeah, that is correct. If one is in a helpless position, they should not be exploited with more punishment. And that is actually part of Kshatriya Dharma also. When it comes to if a person's an aggressor, the idea is not to harm them, but to control them. If you can't control them without harming them, then that happens sometimes. But the idea of Kshatriya is one who stops them until the authorities come, and then they take them away usually. That happened to one devotee in jail when he was attacked in jail. He's a big, powerful devotee, and he became a devotee in jail, member of a gang, and he was involved with so many fights and also many killings. After coming to jail, chanting Hare Krishna, reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, he got initiated. And then one day he got attacked very strongly by someone. But he wrote me a letter. He said, normally I would have finished the guy off, but I didn't because somehow or other, by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, I became, free from that desire to cause harm to the other person. And he simply captured the person, held him down until the guards came and took him away. But ultimately, he wrote me that letter surprising himself on how he handled the situation. Normally, he said he would have attacked the other person, actually probably killed him. Now, after being a devotee, chanting Hare Krishna, getting the mercy of Lord Nityananda, he became somewhat gentle. This is Krishna consciousness. Yeah, so what you say what you say is true, Bonnie.
Thank you. Thanks, Maharaj. I hope that answers your question, Parinta Mataji. There's one more question from Bhadra Prabhu. So is it okay to take it, Maharaj? Just the last question.
From who?
From Bhadra Sodha.
Yeah, I never get questions from her, so give her a chance.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Always Srila Prabhupada. Please forgive me if this is not the question I should be asking, but hearing about the current situation of the society feels so overwhelming. How painful does this makes you feel?
Unfortunately, that's where we are now. We're protected. Devotees are protected by Krishna. So if we take shelter of the holy name, we're not victimized. And we have to learn to live a life in such a way as not to be exploited by the society also. So otherwise, we'll find ourselves being inconvenienced or disturbed just because we're still connected. But ultimately, the holy name will give protection, and Prabhupada's instructions for us will help us understand how to avoid being exploited by society. And so Prabhupada's vision for Krishna consciousness was to ultimately create the Vedic system again in a more modern type of way. You can't go back to the actual Vedic system in essence, but you can go to the principles that govern the Vedic system, and that is to depend on Krishna, to work and depend on nature, and not simply on this principle of working hard for money and getting everything you need from someone who is simply in a mood of exploiting others in order to get material gain. So we have to gradually remove ourselves from that exploitation position. And it takes community in order to do that. It's not so easy. But try to live simply and don't buy into all of the junk that the people want to sell you or all of the things they want to advertise. Or just the way life is. It's just the way it is. There is inconveniences just by living in this world. But if you stay Krishna conscious, some of the will be undisturbed by all of the disturbances.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Consciousness is our shelter. Krishna's holy name is our shelter.
I hope that answers your question,
That
Candramauli.
is so comforting, Maharaj, reminding us always. Thank you.
Right. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow again.